Welcome back, I'm Steve from Relay Gun Adventures, and this is my Crosman 2250, which I have buck railed up to the eyeballs. So I wanted a backpack rifle, and I couldn't really find one. They do exist, I just couldn't find the one I liked, or one that did what I wanted. Had a chat with Terry over at Buck Rail, and the result is my ideal backpack air rifle. So what I have is Terry's folding stock assembly. This is one of my AR style stocks that I've got a box of. I've changed the grip to the AR style grip, and to do that I had to change it over to the mil-spec trigger housing. That's it in essence. The scope's added using Terry's scope adapters too, and I do lots of scope adapters, and I'll make a video at some point about all the wonderful things that you can buy. Now, to put the folding stock on, you need to take out the cap on the back of the cylinder, which involves removing 2 screws. Now, Crosman like to make the best use of screws possible, so everything you undo will probably release at least one other item. So in the case of this replacement rear facing Picatinny, the screw that holds on the rear sight and the screw that holds on the back of the Crosman trigger housing and grip releases that cap, and that cap's under tension because there's a spring, which is the hammer spring. So that's probably the most complicated part of the whole job. When you change the trigger housing, you do need to take the trigger, the sear, the spring and the pins out of the Crosman housing and put them into the Buck Rail housing. It's not hard. It's the simplest trigger you'll ever see. Now, it's still a single stage, non-adjustable trigger. I'll do a video on that as well, because there's another little trick that I can show you on that. But for the sake of argument, it's a single stage, non-adjustable trigger. The Buck Rail spring improves that trigger no end. In fact, everything from Buck Rail makes this into a better shooting experience. So I've now got a rifle-sized, fully adjustable backpack gun, and the adjustment comes from the AR style stock. So you can put this anywhere that it's comfortable. You can get your ideal eye relief. It's just so much better. I've also added a silencer adapter. This isn't from Buck Rail. They may well do one. This is made up of some bits and pieces that I pack kicking around, and I'll do this kind of thing all the time. And when I do, I never do a video on it. I'll never really explain what I've used, but trust me, it's Heath Robinson. But it does the job, and I will swap that out at a later date. I just wanted this whole thing up and running so I could get out and test it. So that's us in full rifle mode. Obviously CO2 powered, so with a silencer it really is pretty much silent. So for fairly short range pest control, in situations where you haven't got necessarily the need to carry a full-size rifle, this will fold up, go in a backpack, and it's there when you need it. CO2 is probably the next best thing to a PCP. It behaves in much the same way, as long as the weather's not too cold. In warm weather and hot weather, it's probably better. It's cheap as well, CO2. You know, the little caplets, 2 of those cost you about £1 probably, and you can get a good number of shots out of that. Now, the only possible downside is that this is a single shot, which actually I quite like. Magazines do have lots of advantages, but for this I'm quite happy that it's a single shot. So that's it in essence. Now, there's a couple of things to cover, particularly on importing stuff from the USA. So when you buy your Buck Rail stuff, Terry sends it to you via a carrier, UPS, whoever. You will have to pay import duty when it gets this end, and I don't know how they calculate import duty. It's an absolute mystery to me. But £200 worth of kit would attract something like £45 worth of import tax, so you need to bear that in mind. Now, when I got the email from UPS to say your stuff's in the UK and clearing customs, they asked me to fill out a form. When I looked, that was a RIF declaration, Realistic Imitation Firearms Act, which doesn't apply to any of this. We had a conversation, I explained it. I ended up filling out the form anyway. Really straightforward. I just said no to everything. I played it with a straight bat. I sent a covering email explaining what these were, what they were for, They arrive the next day, no issues. So if you get that, don't panic, just fill it out and make sure you explain that they are for an air pistol. They're not covered by the Realistic Firearms Act. It's a no-brainer, really. I guess the descriptions on the packing notes triggered that. AR style stock, mil spec, trigger housing, AR style grip. You know, you can see the person in the office thinking, good grief, what's going on here? But yeah, that's what happens. So in a nutshell, that's it. I'm going to take this out, do some shooting, make some more video. I've got plans to do a couple more things with this. I won't go into that now, but I've got a few more ideas, a few things that I'd like to add. So when I do, I'll come back and give you an update. So in essence, that's how my 2250 became my backpack rifle. I do have several of these actually, and a couple of 2240s, which are all pimped up. I like the 2240 pistol, but it just doesn't have that oomph. I wouldn't want to be more than 10 meters from anything that I shot at, probably less. And this particular rifle came to me as a repair some time ago. Somebody had been stupid and tweaked around with it and ruined it, so I rebuilt it, got it going again. So now it's the backpack rifle, and I do have another standard one, which I let the boys shoot under close supervision on occasion. So that's as far as I'm going to get today, I think. So I'd just like to say thanks for watching. If you like to like and subscribe, that's much appreciated. If you don't want to, I'm fine with that too. It's a big thank you to all those that have, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.